What if I told you that just mastering a handful of everyday English sentences could instantly make you sound more fluent? Stay with me, because in this explainer, we're going to learn expressions you'll actually use at home every single day. Welcome to Speak in Style English. If you want to speak English naturally and confidently in everyday life, you're in the exact right place. Today, we aren't just looking at random vocabulary. We're looking at the precise, natural phrases native speakers use as they go through their daily routines.
Here's the chronological roadmap for our morning. We'll start with rise and shine, move into personal care and hygiene, then dressing for the day, tidying up your space, and wrap up with final cleaning chores. Mastering these in order is your secret weapon to sounding naturally fluent.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Rise and shine. Waking up and starting the day.
All right, let's jump right into the very first moments of your day. You know the feeling. The alarm goes off, your eyes open, and your English brain needs to boot up immediately. These next few sentences capture the exact progression a native speaker experiences. I want you to practice the pacing with me, okay? First, at 7 a.m., turn off the alarm. Now at normal speed. Turn off the alarm. Notice how turn and off just kind of blend together? Then, 7:05 a.m., wake up, it's time to get out of bed. Normal speed. Wake up, it's time to get out of bed. Moving to 7:10 a.m., open the curtains and let some sunlight in. Normal speed. Open the curtains and let some sunlight in. And finally, 7:15 a.m. Please make your bed. Normal speed. Please make your bed. Seriously, practicing these out loud as you literally do them in the morning is going to wire them directly into your memory.
Let's zoom in and really focus deeply on this specific sentence. Open the curtains and let some sunlight in. We use this when a room is dark and we just desperately want that fresh morning light. Usually you'll hear a parent saying this to a teenager, or maybe a partner saying it to someone who's still sleeping. When you say it, I want you to feel the action. Imagine you're physically pulling that fabric back. Pronounce it smoothly. Let some sunlight in. Do you hear how the words sunlight and in connect? Almost like they're one single word. It's this energetic, positive command to kickstart the day. Moving right along to Section 2, Personal Care and Hygiene, Getting Fresh and Ready.
So here we have a rapid-fire list of personal hygiene sentences. Let's break down the key verbs, because they are absolutely crucial. First up, brush your teeth properly. The action verb here is brush. Next, wash your face with cold water. The action is wash. Then, take a shower before breakfast. Now notice this. Native speakers don't usually say do a shower or make a shower. Nope, they say take a shower. Finally, dry your hair with a towel. The verb dry is used right here as an action. Try saying them with me at normal conversational speed. Brush your teeth properly. Wash your face with cold water. Take a shower before breakfast. Dry your hair with a towel.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the contrast between the wet and dry actions and how we use the exact same little word, the preposition, for both tools. Listen to this. We say, wash your face with cold water. The cold water is the tool you're using. On the flip side, dry your hair with a towel. The towel is your tool. So whether you're using water to get wet or a towel to get dry, the word with is the glue that connects the action to the object perfectly.
Next up, Section 3. Dressing for the day. Wardrobe management.
Okay, I've laid out the initial steps of dressing and grooming for you. Let's read each sentence deliberately to really lock in that comprehension. Step 1. Put your dirty clothes in the laundry basket. Notice it's put in, which tells us you're placing items inside a container. Step 2. Get dressed quickly. Get dressed is simply the most natural, everyday way to say you're putting on your clothes. Step 3. Comb your hair neatly. Remember, the B at the end of comb is totally silent. It's just comb. Comb your hair neatly.
Continuing this multi-step process for wardrobe and laundry care, we've got 3 incredibly powerful action verbs for you. Step 1. Iron your shirt before wearing it. Iron, meaning to press those wrinkles out. Step 2. Fold your clothes properly. Fold, to bend the fabric so it's nice and neat. Step 3. Hang your clothes on the hanger. Hang, to suspend them up in your closet. Iron, fold, hang.
These are 3 verbs you'll literally use constantly when managing your clothes.
Oh, and of course, we absolutely had to include the sentence, "Don't leave your socks on the floor." I think we can all relate to the universal struggle of trying to keep a tidy space, right? So who usually says this? Mothers, fathers, roommates, husbands, wives. It's the classic line said when someone is just a bit frustrated by clutter. Notice that really strong negative contraction right at the beginning. Don't. Don't leave your socks on the floor. Honestly, it's a fantastic sentence to practice your natural English intonation for those moments when you're slightly annoyed.
So the crucial point is maintaining that space. Let's pivot to section 4, tidying up your space, room maintenance. Take a look at this instruction. Clean your room before going out. This is such a common household instruction. You'll usually hear a parent saying this to a child on a Saturday morning. The structure before going out is a highly natural, clever way to link doing a chore to getting a reward. Oh, you want to go out with your friends? Awesome. Clean your room before going out. And that brings us to section 5, final cleaning chores, sweeping, mopping, and dusting.
Let's highlight the difference between these 2 floor cleaning actions. Sweep the floor versus mop the floor carefully. Sweeping is the dry action, right? Using a broom to collect all that dust and dirt. Mopping is the wet action, using water and soap. Now listen closely to how a native speaker paces these. Sweep the floor. It's quick, just like the stroke of a broom. But mop the floor carefully? That takes a bit more time to say, emphasizing the care needed so nobody accidentally slips on the wet floor.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we pair specific verbs with specific objects around the house. Look at the top row. We pair the verb dust with the furniture. You wouldn't normally say wash the furniture, right? You dust it to remove that fine layer of dirt. Then look at the second row. We wipe the table. Wiping involves a cloth and usually implies cleaning a flat surface, like where we eat or work. So, dust the furniture, wipe the table with a clean cloth. Pairing these verbs and objects correctly is exactly what makes you sound like a much more advanced natural speaker.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To make this really easy to follow, we're going to move room by room through a typical daily routine. We'll be covering cleaning and tidying up, securing your environment, daily household chores, kitchen prep and drinks, and finally, serving and dining. All right, let's jump straight into cleaning and tidying up your essential sentences for a spotless home. We're going to kick things off with some high energy, setting the scene for those inevitable weekend morning chores. Our very first sentence is an absolute staple in any household. Vacuum the carpet. Let's practice reading this together 3 times to really nail that pronunciation. First, nice and slowly. Vacuum. The carpet. Now at a normal speed, vacuum the carpet. And finally, with that fluid native linking, vacuum the carpet. You see how that flows? This is a classic directive, typically said by parents to their kids on a Saturday morning, or maybe by a roommate when it's finally your turn to clean the living room. Now let's move to our next set of chores and see how this builds into a sequence. Step 1, empty the trash bin. Step 2, take the garbage outside. Notice the chronological sequence of the actions here, combined with a really subtle vocabulary shift. Empty the trash bin usually refers to the physical container itself, the one sitting under your desk or in your kitchen. But once you've gathered all that waste up, you transition to step 2. You take the garbage outside. It's a natural, everyday flow of actions that native speakers use constantly. Next up is securing your environment, which means managing doors, windows, and power. We are shifting our narrative here to how we control our living space, moving the focus over to basic home security and daily comfort. Take a look at these 2 related yet completely different commands. Close the door gently versus lock the front door. This brilliantly illustrates how the verbs we choose dictate the entire tone of our speech. Close the door gently is a soft, careful request. The pronunciation pace is usually slower, almost a whisper. But lock the front door, that is a firm, decisive action. It's meant to ensure safety. Listen to the difference in delivery. Close the door gently. Lock the front door. See? It is all about the context of the situation and your intent as the speaker. We also spend a lot of time managing our climate and energy usage at home, right? We might tell someone, open the window for fresh air, or if it's getting just a bit too warm, switch on the fan. But as we move from room to room, there is that classic household reminder, turn off the lights when you leave. Notice how that specific instruction naturally leads right into the more overarching, often parental reminder, don't waste electricity. They go hand in hand to secure a comfortable, efficient home environment. Moving right along to daily household chores, specifically caring for living things. This warmly transitions our explainer to the specific sentences we use when taking care of the plants and the animals that share our homes with us. Look at these two simple commands, water the plants and feed the pet. These are incredibly short, punchy directives. Native speakers use these with a very specific, bouncy rhythm, usually as quick reminders just before rushing out the front door for work or school. Let's practice that native rhythm together. Water the plants, feed the pet. They are crisp, action-oriented, and absolutely essential for daily household management. All right, next up is kitchen prep and drinks, the morning routine. Let's shift our focus to the absolute heart of the home, the kitchen. This is a place where fluent, natural English is constantly used, especially during that chaotic morning rush. Here is a very common two-step morning sequence. Step 1, refill the water bottle. Step 2, boil some water. Notice how these two actions are naturally connected. Let's do a little coaching on the pronunciation here, specifically focusing on the R in water and the L in boil. Refill the water bottle. Boil some water. Native speakers link these words very smoothly while bustling around the kitchen counters. Now, look at this fantastic vocabulary comparison. Make a cup of tea versus brew some coffee. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding exactly when a native speaker uses the general verb make versus the highly specific verb brew. For tea, you're usually just combining hot water in a tea bag, so we simply say make a cup of tea. But for coffee, especially if you're using a drip machine or a French press that actually takes time to extract flavor, we use the specific, rich verb brew. Brew some coffee. It just implies a whole process, doesn't it? And all of that morning prep leads us to this master sentence. Prepare breakfast. This is a broad directive, encompassing all the morning cooking we just talked about. Let's take a quick moment to really drill the pronunciation of this phrase. First, nice and slow. Prepare breakfast. Now normal speed. Prepare breakfast. And fast, like you're in a big hurry. Prepare breakfast. Notice how the P and B sounds really pop? It's an energetic, active phrase to kick off your day. Finally, we reach serving and dining, our sentences for mealtime. Let's bring this explainer into its final scenario, focusing on those polite, necessary interactions that happen as everyone gathers around the dinner table. Because, well, before you can eat, you have to set the dining table. This phrase specifically means organizing the plates, the glasses, the napkins, and the cutlery in their proper places before the food even comes out. Let's demonstrate the crisp pronunciation of the T in the word set. Set the dining table. It's precise, it's clear, and it is an instruction you will hear in English-speaking households across the world every single evening. Once you're seated, you really need to know how to make polite requests. We have, pass me the salt, please, compared with, could you hand me a spoon? Let's look at the subtlety here. Pass me is incredibly common for food items that are already moving around the table. Could you hand me is slightly more polite and is often used for a specific object, like a dropped utensil, that might be completely out of reach. Let's practice the natural intonation of that question, letting your voice gently rise at the end. Could you hand me a spoon? And here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. Serve the food while it's hot. There's a real sense of urgency, excitement, and warmth behind this phrase. Listen to how the words link together so smoothly in native speech. Serve the food while it's hot. The while and the it's blend right together into while it's. It's the absolute perfect sentence to announce that the meal is finally ready and it is time to dig in. I want to leave you today with this powerful, motivating thought. Fluency doesn't come from memorizing hundreds of sentences. It comes from understanding and using one sentence correctly every day. You now have 20 highly practical, everyday household directives right in your toolkit. So your mission? Pick just one of them. Use it in your home today. Say it out loud when you make your coffee or set your table. So I have to ask, which sentence will you use today to truly build your English confidence? If you enjoyed today's explainer, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Speak in Style English, and share it with a friend who wants to improve their English. I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep improving. Goodbye.